the Florida Writer Podcast, a discussion about writing and other things.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Alison Nissen. Today, I am lucky enough to be with JC Gatlin. JC, could you give us a 60-second elevator pitch about who you are and what you write?
Oh, sure. I'm JC Gatlin. I write Florida murder mysteries, and I've written 5 books. The latest one, Darkness Hides, just came out in April through Milford House Press.
Wow. Tell me about your writing journey. How'd you get started?
Well, I've been writing my whole life. I think most writers do. And so I started writing in grade school. Actually, it probably begins with reading because I read mysteries and loved reading mysteries all my life and started reading mysteries as a kid. My grandmother read Mary Higgins Clark and got me into that when I was as a teenager. And I've always wanted to write mysteries. And in 2013, I took a story that I wrote in college and kind of tried to edit it. And that was Prey of Desire. And then that was my first published novel. And I haven't looked back since.
You haven't looked back since. I love that. Tell me, what's your process? So writing a mystery, you start with the end in mind, you start with the end, and then you work backwards, or how does that play into your process?
Yeah, usually I've got an idea. It might be a character, or it might be a murder. It might be a ending. And then that just kind of keeps germinating in the back of my head till I actually start coming up with a full book. I had been thinking about Darkness Hides for years and years because I wanted to write a book about a hurricane. And then as I started thinking of characters to put in that situation, and then the murder to put in that situation, then the book started coming together.
I am looking in your at your video, and while the audience can't see it, there's a whole bunch of what look like big pieces taped to your door and wall with comments on it. Does that have anything to do with your writing process?
Absolutely, it does. That's an outline. And I am a huge outliner. I'm not a pantser at all, not even a gray area in the pantser arena on that scale. So yeah, I go through and I outline the book. Those are all the different scenes in the new book that I'm working on. And as you're plotting out a murder mystery, it's really important to have your clues planted and know that at this point, this needs to happen. And at this point, this needs to happen. And so I move those around as I start changing things. And you can probably see the red right there. That's where the murder occurs.
It's jumping out at me. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool. It's your visual outline.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Right.
And all you have to do is stand back and you can see the whole thing unfolding. I find that when I have it on a computer, it's so tiny, it's difficult to actually read. Here's a little history about Alison. When I was in college, I'd put everything on index cards, and then I would sit on my dorm room floor and rearrange everything. I wasn't working on a mystery. I was just writing an essay, but it really was the same idea.
That's exactly the same thing. And you know, it really helps with writer's block because if I feel stumped, I can sit there and stare at that and ideas will come into my head from looking at the big picture that way. And I do have an outline in Microsoft Word, of course. So everything's not longhand. It's just that is something that really helps me to keep moving forward in the writing process.
So tell me about the heroes you like to draw.
Amateur sleuths, generally a strong female protagonist who gets wrapped up in the murder in some capacity. She doesn't go out looking to solve murders. She doesn't look to even solve crimes. It's usually just an ordinary person who gets wrapped up and swept up in a murder mystery, and the police aren't listening, or maybe the wrong person is accused of the murder and she knows that that's not right, so she comes to their defense. And so far, every one of my books has a different heroine, but the publisher has asked for a series out of my Hangman book, And so I put a proposal together for 4 more mysteries, which they liked. And that's what I'm actually working on now is Hangman 2. So I'm using that heroine, Tori, and she's solving a new murder.
Very good. How about when you start? So this was not a sequel or a series when you first wrote it, but now you're going to create a series. Do you plan each book to be a standalone mystery?
It is a standalone mystery, but I'm going to have elements that carry through. Some of the characters from previous books will show up. Plus, there'll just be probably an over. She'll have a journey from where she was from the first book to where she is in the last book. And so I do have that plotted out. So there is some continuity, but each book will have its own murder mystery that gets solved.
But you've developed an arc for your heroine so that she does grow and develop along the way.
Yes. And had several conversations with a publisher about what that should be and where she should go and everything.
Tell me what it's like to work with a publisher. So you started off self-publishing and then you were able to find a publisher.
Through the Florida Writers Association.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
So was that at a conference?
Yes, it was the 2018 conference. And I did the pitch to the publisher and they liked Hangman. And so it was, we moved forward and then they published Darkness Hides. And now we're working on a 4-book series. Plus I have another idea for a standalone that they like. So it's become a really good relationship.
Oh, that's really good. But again, tell me about so how does it work where they say, great, we love this story, we're going to publish it. This one did well. It did well enough that we want to see this heroine again and again and again and again 4 more times. How does that conversation even start?
I think it started with marketing. And when the book came out, or as it was coming out, I actually went up to Pennsylvania and had dinner with Lawrence Knorr. He was the publisher, and he was talking about series. He was just telling me, if you really want to get to the next level, to develop that following and to get to that next sales level, a series is very important and is key to that success. And so my brain just doesn't think that way. I just don't think of series. So it took me a little bit of time to really kind of come up with some ideas. I sent them a proposal. They sent it back with some other ideas and some things to think about. And I sent it again. And I think we went back and forth on that a couple of times. And then we got it to a point where he's like, yeah, let's start writing these.
How exciting. All right. It started with marketing. Tell me about the marketing process.
The marketing process is great. I've learned a lot about social media, blog tours. The publisher will do certain things, and then they're going to ask you to do certain things. And so they've lined up some interviews and some blog tours. They do a lot of social media, and then they'll ask me to do A, B, and C. And so I'll make sure that I do those things as well. And I really didn't have a clue about how to market books until I really started working with them. And now I have a much deeper understanding. However, I feel like I still have a long ways to go before I'm an expert.
Tell me about what a blog tour is.
A blog tour kind of replaces the old-fashioned book tour. So they set up about 25, 26 different blogs that review books and or spotlight books. Each blog has a following. And so I would go to each one of the blogs. They either spotlight the book or review the book or interview me, and some of them do all 3. And then generally they'll have comments. The readers are commenting on the blog, on their post. And then throughout the day, I go in there and I respond to people's comments, respond to the blog authors' comments, and discussions start happening. And it's just lined up. The last one was 4 weeks, and we did 26 stops. So it was really cool. And you can see it really boosts up the reviews on Amazon, because most of those blog tours will be posting their reviews on Amazon and Goodreads. So it's a great way to engage. It's a great way to get reviews, and it's a great way to get your name out there.
Definitely sounds like a plus. What else have you done?
I've done a couple of trailers, and I did that on my own, and hired a graphic artist. The one for Darkness Hides is kind of, I wanted to really tell the story, but I didn't have the money to go hire people to act out scenes of the book. So I hired a graphic artist who drew comics, and I bought a whole bunch of comic books. I found different strips or panels that actually kind of depicted some of the action that I wanted, and then sent him a storyboard, and then he used that to create the characters in the book, and we put together a whole book trailer. So it's kind of looks like a graphic novel, even though my book's not a graphic novel, but it visualizes that story without just some generic landscape pieces or just text, which most book trailers seem to be. And I've had a really good response from it.
That sounds like an amazing trailer. I'm going to have to go look at that one.
Oh, please do. I'm really proud of it. And my niece is the narrator, and she did a great job as well. And so she voiced the character in the trailer.
That's cool. I love when family can get involved.
Mm-hmm.
So do you write anything other than mysteries?
No, that's pretty much the only thing that goes through my head are murder mysteries. And it's not just, murder and solving a murder. There's romance, there's comedy, there's drama on top of all the suspense. So, you write in all of those genres, even though the principal genre is going to be murder mystery. But I don't have any other ideas. I've got like 17 or 18 more book ideas, but none of them are outside of the murder mystery genre.
I think that's interesting in that, that if someone were to, they have that meme that we see all the time of don't look at my search engine queries because you'll think I'm a psychopath or something. But, people that write these murder mysteries or the thrillers, I'm always wondering like, oh, wow, what are you thinking about all the time? Like, do you walk past you're in Florida and you walk down the boardwalk or the beach and you think, that could be an interesting place for something crazy to happen.
Absolutely. I was in Anna Maria Island, and that's where I got the idea for the location for Darkness Hides. And walking around on the boardwalk, I thought, ooh, what if a body came and washed ashore? What if there were 3 bodies that washed ashore? And what if there's a hurricane coming? And so the story just kept building from there while I was out there at Anna Maria Island.
I'm sure that was fun beach conversation.
People who know me get used to it. People who don't know me usually stand a few feet away from me.
That's fun. JC Gatlin, how could people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, very responsive there. And it's JC Gatlin Author on Instagram and Facebook. And then I've got my website, jcgatlin.com. And people ask me questions and respond and send me stuff all the time. And I try to respond back to everybody. So please contact me. I love it. It makes me feel loved.
Well, let's all show JC some love right as we jump into our rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Do you know any funny jokes by heart?
Oh no. The only joke I know is not repeatable.
In 40 years, what will people be nostalgic for?
I think people are going to be nostalgic for old movies that I think everything will become 3D and holographic. And I think that people will be nostalgic for the old days where you just sit and watch a narrative and not be part of it. That's kind of what I think.
And final question. What should you never put on a pizza?
Oh, anchovies.
That's either universally loved or hated. So one or the other.
No anchovies, please.
Well, JC Gatlin, thank you so much for stopping by.
Absolutely. Thank you. This was great, and I appreciate the opportunity.
You all have been listening to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Alison Nissen. Alison out. Boom! Well, that was great. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Award-winning author JC Gatlin lives in Tampa, Florida, and has written 6 mystery suspense novels set in the Sunshine State. His novel Hangman, Murder is the Word, was honored by the Florida Writers Association with its coveted Royal Palm Literary Award for Best Mystery Crime Fiction in 2019. For more information about JC, visit him on the web at jcgatlin.com. For more information, visit floridawriters.org. Until next time.